Hello my friends, in today's update we have bad news as you may see on your screen, and also we have good news. Let's start from bad because those are outstanding. Russia hit the government building of Ukraine. This is the central part of Kiev. You can see Maidan Square, all of those monuments around, and you may see the smoke is coming from one of the buildings, which is actually the building of Ukrainian government, Ukrainian ministry, where all of the ministers, including defense minister and prime minister, are working. The strike happened right in the morning. Russia launched several of the ballistic missiles, and one of the missiles hit the building. On the top floor, you may see fire. Luckily, no one except security was inside the building, but no one was hurt in this particular one. However, Russia also hit several residential buildings in Kiev, and there, unfortunately, casualties, including one of the baby. Actually, this attack of Russia was the record one. They launched more than 800 drones, missiles, and everything on Ukraine. Here is one more picture. You may see firefighters try to eliminate the fire coming from those windows on the top. And this is the picture from inside. Fire was already eliminated, so extinguished. And this is the part of the Kiev city. You can see the huge fire erupted there. And we have the video with the evidence of the thick smoke coming from one of the places. The smoke is really huge. I wonder what was hit out there. Could be fuel reservoirs or something, because the smoke is really huge. And those are the traces of the Russian drones and missiles which were spotted the last night in Ukraine. So totally 818 air targets were identified by Ukrainian air defense. Shut down 750, so Ukrainian air defense was more or less ready for this strike. However, absolutely zero of the ballistic missiles were shut down, and it is bad. Russian ballistic missiles are very hard to intercept. So yeah, it's the biggest strike on Ukraine since the beginning of the war. You may see that Russia accumulated lots and lots of the drones and missiles, and they use those right now. And as for Ukrainian ministry building, definitely it's the first time Russia hit, as they say, decision-making points in Ukraine. Before, Russians tried to avoid the strikes on Verkhovna Rada, so Parliament of Ukraine, and Ministry and President's office, but now it seems like they're focused on this stuff as well. Well, actually, it opens the way for Ukraine to respond on those strikes, because now Ukraine develops and produces long-range missiles and drones, so it's not going to be the problem for Ukraine to hit, for example, Moscow infrastructure, could be government building as well. And again, we see one more sign that the war goes to escalation, more strikes on Ukraine, more aerial attacks, and even government infrastructure is being hit. Yeah, before Russia hit like some local government building in Kharkiv and in central part, but after all, it's the local government building, not the major one, which is used for entire Ukraine. And the Ukrainian ministry is, I would say, one of those main buildings. To eliminate the fire, Ukraine uses helicopters. For example, in the ministry building they were used. We see even Mi-8 in operation there, and it's the Mi-8 helicopter, and there was the fire. But now, according to the latest reports, the fire is gone. Will it harm Ukrainian ministry operation? Well, could be, but not significant. I mean, building is, after all, building. The most important thing are people. And those people, if they really want and if it is needed, they may work even in underground station. Also, Russia attacked the important part of Ukrainian infrastructure. This is the railway bridge in Kremenchuk. You may see Russians hit the bridge right in the central part over here, and also there are the damages on the top. So this strike, and here we go. Could be two of the drone strikes, but I saw only one. So where's this bridge? We should go to Kremenchuk city. It's the important one located just at the Dnipro river. And if we zoom in, you can see this part of the bridge. So the upper part goes for automobile traffic, the lower part for the trains. The Ukrainian train company already reported about delays, so for Ukraine it would be maybe even harder to send some of the military equipment to the front lines. But obviously there are many different ways to cross the river, not just in Kremenchuk, but also in Cherkasy. There is the bridge, also in Dnipro. There are different ways to go to the eastern side. For now, Russia didn't harm communications or logistics, is fair to say, a lot. And Ukraine obviously will repair this bridge just with drones. Russia is unable to harm it very hard. Nevertheless, we see that Ukrainian air defense was overwhelmed today with those Russian strikes, unfortunately. And here we go with one of the residential buildings in Kiev. So Russia hits absolutely everything: logistics, military targets, civilian infrastructure, the most, and also now government buildings. Odessa was also hit very hard last night, and there was the multi-story building, and one of the drones hit the top of it. And there is something I noticed here, and it has already been confirmed. One of the drones went to Poland, again penetrating Polish airspace, and just the day before yesterday, one of the drones also penetrated NATO airspace, accidentally, as those officials say, and now one more. It is happening on daily basis now. Then Russian drones are spotted in NATO, and they don't give a about this stuff. No reaction whatsoever. Well, in this case, Poland and any kind of the neighboring state, or maybe not even neighboring, expect this kind of the picture to appear soon. Not in Ukraine, but in your countries, because weakness and inaction encourages predator to escalate. And predator here is Russia with Putin's regime. Lots of the Shahed drones were shut down with the help of the FPV drones. As it is reported by the drone volunteers Ternenko, at least 40 of the Shaheds were shut down in this way. Well, guys, I promised you some of the good news. Here we go. Ukraine responded on striking Krasnodar Ilininsky refinery. This is the big one, and it is out of the operation. For now, the fire continues. Relative to this one, we have lots of the photos and videos. At least several drones hit the facility, causing the large-scale fire. So what Russians say, the Ukrainian drone debris hit some sort of the local infrastructure, which is not that important. Well, very soon they're gonna start to speak about debris from not the drones, but Ukrainian long-range missiles as Flamingo. And guys, I think after today's Russian attack, Ukraine is going to respond with a large-scale counterattack, again with drones and probably missiles. But Flamingo missile for now, judging on what we saw in attack on avant-post of Russian FSB, well, developers still needs to work on precision. But we'll see, then they're gonna use it. Also, the last night, Ukraine hit the Druzhba oil pipeline facility and pumping station for it. Fire broke out not far away from those oil tanks. So this strike happened a couple of days after a meeting between Fico and Zelensky, where Fico asked Zelensky not to strike oil facilities of Druzhba pipeline, but Zelensky responded that we're gonna hit Russian infrastructure because that is how we respond and apply sanctions on the Russian oil. As I mentioned to you before, this pipeline not just used by Hungary and Slovakia, but also Russia pumps their oil to Belarus refineries and obtains fuel and aviation jet fuel as well. That's why it's strategically important infrastructure for Ukraine to hit, legitimate target, let's say. And here we go with the satellite image. So something here was hit and probably one of the tanks was burning. The same facility suffered the drone strikes 2 weeks ago. Russians managed to repair it fast, but every time Ukraine will hit it, I'm sure about it. The operation of the Druzhba pipeline is disturbed, so Slovakia and Hungary should unite in pressing Russia more for Russia to finish this war so they may obtain their oil. But no, they are pressing Ukraine. Yes, about the front lines, I have some news. Russians started their attack towards Mirnograd. There is the convoy full of the armored vehicles. I got the information about it. Ukraine, for now, tries to repel this attack. From what I understood, Ukrainian defense is successful here. Yeah, Ukraine operates mostly with drones. But for detailed information and for the possible drone video, I need to wait a little longer. So I hope I will update you about the front lines a little later to show you a detailed picture. I think close to the evening I'm gonna record one more video, but now bear with me because we have some other news. Alright guys, here we have the short story of the rescue operation conducted by the joint Ukrainian forces of the military intelligence and the Ukrainian UAVs, Bayraktars. As you know, Ukraine operates in the Black Sea with the drone boats sabotaging Russian gas platforms. Yes, Russians mostly control them, but sometimes Ukraine lands there and KIA Russian soldiers and destroy their equipment. In one of those missions, a Ukrainian drone boat was attacked. Our guys maneuvered. Russia used aviation and our guys were in lack of the air defense. So because of those maneuvers, one of the soldiers went overboard this boat to the sea, and our guys there were not able to stop and pick him up by the time because they were under fire. So unfortunately, yes, the guy was left there and he was swimming 14 hours, all of the night and the part of the morning. Then Ukrainian UAV, a Bayraktar drone, spotted him the next morning. Drone operators told that it was a very hard task to find the guy, and it was only possible with the help of thermal camera. Yeah, this is the gimbal of Bayraktar, a big one with thermal camera, with a standard camera. Bayraktar is fantastic, but it is kind of vulnerable to the Russian air defense systems, and Russians actually tried to shut it down. Russians used S-400 missiles to shut down the drone, but they missed, so the next morning Ukraine launched the drone strike on those S-400 air defense systems in Crimea. And about the soldier, he was rescued by one more boat. Coordinates were sent, so the rescue mission arrived at the proper time. Soldier was delivered to hospital, he's alive, and even he gives this interview about his save. Outstanding operation of Ukraine. Our guy was saved, and moreover, Ukraine spotted the Russian air defense, which was kaputted the next day. Absolutely great. Guys, do you remember this parade in China and how those dictators were speaking about the age of 70, 150 years and eternal life? Well, China actually forced Reuters to delete the video. They applied the copyright strike in the court. And you know, I streamed the Chinese parade on my trash channel live, at least part of it. I criticized it. I mean, not the parade, because after all, parade was nice, but I criticized China and those dictators. And my video is also down, like it's blocked by China media company, CCTV or whatsoever. I guess I lost some of the social credit as well as Reuters, and here we speak about really huge Chinese censorship applied by international courts, even on Western corporations, media corporations, and platforms like, for example, even YouTube. Guys, just a couple of words about Donald Trump and confirmation of his pure insanity and childish-like behavior. So here's his tweet dated from yesterday. I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. 3 helicopters, Chicocalypse now, and kind of the cringy image of Donald Trump. This is the reference to one of the Vietnam War movies. And pardon guys if I'm not correct, but it seems like Chicago about to find out why it's called Department of War. It means that war threat to Chicago. I don't have any other way of how to interpret what he just said to his own city. I mean, city of the United States of America, which he is the president of. It's the declaring of war, what, on the own country. So pardon guys if I'm not correct, but it feels like that. And definitely he looks so cringe, not just for the president of the United States, biggest economy and the biggest military in the world. This behavior is outstanding for any sort of the leader. Even for the president of the smallest and the biggest country in the world, it would look really outstandingly cringe. But here we go, a boy in the adult body, president of the United States of America. Guys, it is not looking like idiocracy any longer, it is the idiocracy itself. Strangely, but we don't see such behavior even from Russian dictator Putin, Chinese dictator Xi Jinping. In the relation between themselves, in the relation to the public, they behave like normal politicians. Yes, they act very badly, especially Putin towards Ukraine. He's a murderer, he's a war criminal, he's an aggressor and terrorist, I may call him. But the way those dictators speak is way more polite and intelligent compared to Donald Trump. They're playing Trump and they see America as the weak country, and they may do whatever they want, and it's just a matter of time that China will start its special military operation against Taiwan. With Donald Trump in power, it is inevitable. The big article about it I already reposted on my Patreon page, so you may check it out if you're my subscriber on Patreon. The link for it is in the video description just below if you want to support the job that I do, and there I share some of the stories, updates, and unique content. I'll try to publish more of that stuff on Patreon. So thank you for your kind support. And you might recall the case with the reduction of the military support of Lithuania and Estonia. Definitely officials of those countries confirmed that United States made the decision to cut military aid to those countries which are bordering Russia or Belarus. Yeah, the Lithuanians defense ministry say that Pentagon informed them last week that funding will be dropped to zero starting the next financial year, so 2026. I don't know even how to comment that, guys. By the time dictators unite in confrontation against the main democracy in the world, United States of America, and its world order plus dollar of the United States of America, Donald Trump decides to weaken its allies, critical allies, crucial in Europe. In one of my recent videos, I told about this boat that was cabined by MQ Reaper, American drone. Well, it appears to be it wasn't the drug boat, as many mentioned before, as well as United States officials. So why it is not likely the drug boat? Because there were 11 people on board. Yes, it looks like the drug boat. It has many of the engines, at least 3 from what I see. But with 11 people on board, it looks like more transportation could be of illegal immigrants somewhere. Plus, the official statements about the strike start to contradict between each other. Rubio and Trump offered conflicting assessments of where the boat was heading to. Rubio initially said that alleged drugs on board were probably bound on Trinidad or another Caribbean country, while Trump said that the vessel was headed to United States. Rubio later said that definitely it was headed to United States, eventually to United States. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said that they knew exactly who was on board and exactly what they were doing. Plus, Trump said that United States has tapes of them speaking. However, nothing was released. No any identities, no any tapes. This case looks like Epstein files, yeah? We have everything on our table, but will not tell you. And of course, before, even during the first Trump presidency, CIA have been criticized for mistaking Syrian civilians whom they believed were this word, that T word that I cannot say on the YouTube. Moreover, the New York Times published the operation which was conducted by the Trump's administration during the first term of Donald Trump, where SEALs were sent for the special operation to North Korea. But they encountered some of the fishing boats and they unalived all of the fishermen. That is what article says. They refer to some of the high official in intelligence service. Well, it seems like this intelligence information is draining from every sort of the whole of the White House, and it is available publicly to media. And none of those operations, including the recent one with this smuggling allegedly boat, it wasn't agreed by Congress. So Trump is doing everything as the pure dictator, as well as he starts the military escalation in Caribbean Sea against Venezuela, also without any sort of the authorization from Congress. The United States Army is sending ships, it collects data, and it could be, I would say, a grave mistake for the United States to intervene into Venezuela, despite that I don't like Venezuelan regime at all. Yes, it is the ally of China and Russia, but I think it's the pure mistake to deploy American forces there because the outcome could be not so good. It could be the second Vietnam for United States, and probably I'm gonna record one more video about that one on the channel. And guys, I want to raise the awareness here using this channel. It is not okay what is happening in the United States of America. I'm in this case with the Ukrainian woman, or I may call her a girl. She's very young, 23 years old, Irina, who went to United States as a refugee and was just stopped in a train by some crazy freaking bastard who was arrested at least 14 of the times but was released out there to American society. Video of this absolutely disgusting attack was released to X platform. Also, you may find it on Telegram. This is terrible what happened. She escaped the war, but she found her end in developed country, the country which has lots of the flaws, yeah, if we speak about security. It is very, very sad, and for the last months, lots of the cases happened to Ukrainian girls, Ukrainian refugees. There was one case in Germany, then girl was pushed to the train, and there was also attempt of rape in France. So it's not just United States issue, it's the issue of the developed world. But you know what, guys, MAGA now tries to speculate on those cases. They always scream a lot, but they do absolutely nothing. And by the way, United States authorities, they're pushing out Ukrainian Ukrainian refugees from the United States. They are not prolonging the U4U program for Ukrainians. So they are forcibly making those Ukrainian refugees illegals in the United States. I know it myself because I monitor lots of the Ukrainian refugees in their social media, and many of them were forced to go to Ukraine even, or to Europe back. It is like a shadow ban of Ukrainians, but the rest, they obtain their paroles and they have some sort of the guarantees on soil of the United States. Maybe Trump just doesn't like Ukraine and Ukrainians, because in general, Ukrainians do not support Trump's policy, and he's sick and tired of those blue and yellow flags in Anchorage as well. And remember how J.D. Vance was encountered by Ukrainian supporters. Then he wanted to head a ski vacation and forced to leave the place. So I think they hate Ukrainians, and everything connected to Ukraine. It's my opinion, judging on their actions. I may not be correct here. So actually, MAGA doesn't give a about Irina's death. They're out there spreading their agenda narratives. This case is just one more for them to strengthen the rules against even legal immigrants. And I guess the guy who unalived Irina, he was American after all. So the problem lies even deeper than migration itself. Yes, again guys, very, very sad what happened to that beautiful girl. So police, internal security, everything of that is not working correctly. In the United States, in France, in Germany, reforms are needed for sure. And people who were involved already in violation and criminal behavior, they should be followed very, very precisely, and in many of the cases isolated from society, of course. Alright guys, I'm gonna keep you updated on situation in Ukraine, and not only bear with me, I'm gonna record one more video hopefully today with a frontline update. For now, I'm monitoring the situation, and obviously if you like, you may support me on Patreon. My job, motivate me to film more, of course. With your support, I'm here. My support is on Patreon and on membership of this YouTube channel. Guys, you make this content possible. Now I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.